everybody, I'm the DIY Dad. My name's Richard. Our family decided to leave the UK to find a sunnier life somewhere else. So we're going to talk about failure because we've watched many other people do exactly what we're going to do, and we're a bit frustrated because we decided back in January had no end of problem with house sales and some health problems with the kids, and it's all stopping us leaving. It's literally stopped us dead in our tracks. And we have watched multiple other families do what we want to do. They just went, oh yeah, we're just going to do that. And they just did it. They didn't seem to have any trouble doing it. So, failure. We feel like at the moment we're failing a bit because of what we're trying to do. But we're being held back by the system, especially the NHS. That's really holding us back. And the house sale is really slow, and it's just not happening. You know, we've sold lots of times, it just isn't pushing on and getting through. So currently we feel like we're failing a bit. But during this time that we've had, I left work in May. We've been looking at ways to earn money, for example. We've both set up businesses. I've looked into investing. And now I've got people asking me what we do for money, even though we haven't even left yet. So I'm using my ADHD kind of hyper-focusing skills to really push on the things that are going to allow us to continue our journey in the future. And as a family, we feel like we failed a bit because we just haven't got there yet. And we're really frustrated by it. But none of it is to do with anything that we've got any control over. So we're working hard to tell ourselves that, you know, we are good enough. We are good enough to do this. Especially when you've got other people asking you for advice, for example. So failure. As a home educating family, I've talked to my kids loads about this. I've said the only way to learn is to fail. Now, I have done many different types of jobs. I've sold compressors for milk and parlours. I'm an expert in compressors. I do forestry, which is my passion, and I've worked in peat bog restoration. I've done lots of really odd technical jobs, but I've never felt good enough, which is a little part of ADHD. And I only realised that this was an issue a couple of years ago when I found out I had it. So I've been living with this my whole life. And now I'm living with it while we're trying to leave the UK, and I have my massive doubts all the time about what we're doing. I really do. But I strongly believe it's the right thing to do. The UK at the moment is, I don't know how to describe it at the moment, it's very changeable. It's changeable, but not in a good way. The UK that I grew up in is nothing like it is now. It's really alien to me as to how everything's working, who's in control, what happens to your money, how much everything costs. The whole thing is it's really gone downhill. And this is only part of the reason we decided to do this, because we decided to leave long before any of this happened. So as it's happened, we said, oh yeah, we're going to leave. And then all this stuff's happened afterwards. And then we definitely want to leave. And then we feel like we failed because we're still here. So we're hoping the house sale is going to happen in the next month. We're hoping that the NHS finally comes through after 3 years and we get my daughter's teeth sorted. And then as soon as that's done, we'll be off. So back to failure. Have we failed? No, not really. Because a year ago, I wouldn't have been in front of camera here. I just wouldn't have done it. I was terrified of showing myself on camera. I was terrified of voicing an opinion in case anybody said, oh, that's a terrible idea. So my growth in the last year has changed massively. You know, for starting a YouTube channel, writing courses when I'm not really computer literate, teaching myself how to do funnels and advertise, and, you know, grown a group on Facebook of about 1,300 people. But all this changed for me in a year, from somebody that was used to being in a machine 14 hours a day in the woods, just on my own, just listening to music and just being in a little bubble. And I forced myself to come out of that bubble. Because in that job, I wasn't a failure. I was good. I was really good. Which is why nobody wanted me to leave. But I have to push myself. I have to then fail again in order to push through, to do what we want to do, to enable us to leave the UK, to go into the sun, to spend my time with the kids rather than being sat on my own. And all of these things that we're pushing for are things that I'm not going to regret when I'm older.